Killer robots will leave humans utterly defenceless, warns Professor. Killer robots, which are being developed by the US military, will leave humans utterly defenceless, an academic has warned. Two programs, commissioned by the US Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, are seeking to create drones that can track and kill targets even when out of contact with their handlers. Writing in the journal Nature, Stuart Russell, Professor of Computer Science at the University of California, Berkeley, said the research could breach the Geneva Convention and leave humanity in the hands of amoral machines. Autonomous weapon systems select and engage targets without human intervention. They become lethal when those targets include humans, he said. Existing AI and robotic components can provide physical platforms, perception, motor control, navigation, mapping, tactical decision-making, and long-term planning. They just need to be combined. In my view, the overriding concern should be the probable endpoint of this technological trajectory. Despite the limits imposed by physics, one can expect platforms deployed in the millions, the agility and lethality of which will leave humans utterly defenceless. This is not a desirable future. When you read articles like this, which is from a serious professor, not some nut job who spends too much time in his mother's basement with a box of Kleenex, you have to wonder about the mentality of the elite that run our planet. Developing drones that kill people that are piloted from thousands of miles away is bad enough. This has led to headlines like this. America's deadly double-tap drone attacks are killing 49 people for every known terrorist in Pakistan. The CIA does not want us to know how many civilians our drones kill. These drones are killing hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent people, and it's largely going unreported. Why is there not a big outcry? Because the Obama administration is flat out lying to the people about most things, and they're lying to people about the drone program also. Robert Gibbs was a White House spokesperson, and he was told not even to acknowledge the drone program when asked about it by the press. Gibbs, I was told not to acknowledge existence of drone program. When I went through the process of becoming press secretary, one of the first things they told me was, you're not even to acknowledge the drone program, Gibbs said on MSNBC's Up with Chris Hayes on Sunday. You're not even to discuss that it exists. You're being asked a question based on a report of a program that exists. So Gibbs was told to lie. So can you imagine how they try and hide and lie about the use of killer robots that can track people down and kill them, even when they're out of range of their handlers? Killer machines are just left to roam and kill uncontrolled. Are you ready for that? Who knows? For all we know, these robots may be being used as I speak. You just can't accept anything your government tells you at face value. There was an article that appeared a couple of years ago, which was quickly removed, stating that these robots could in fact fuel themselves by eating the flesh of the people they killed. Do we really want autonomous killing robots running around our planet, killing seemingly anyone they like, then eating their victims to fuel itself for the next kill? Do we? Because this is where we're heading unless we start caring less about X Factor and more about our future. US Army considers replacing thousands of troops with robots. The US Army is considering replacing thousands of soldiers with robots as it deals with sweeping troop cuts. A senior American officer said he is considering shrinking the size of the Army's brigade combat teams by a quarter and replacing the lost troops with robots and remote-controlled vehicles. The American military is still far from fielding armies of Terminator-type robotic killers, though. They may be far from fielding Terminator-type robots at the moment, so they tell us, but how long before they are fielding them? This is a truly terrifying scenario, and one that we will need to wake up to, and fast. But it's not only robots that kill we need to be concerned about. Amazon deploys 10,000 robot workers a year after Obama's famous Amazon Jobs speech. Amazon bragged of having 1,000 robots in its warehouses. Now CEO Bezos, whatever he's called, has said the number will be closer to 10,000 by the end of the year. Amazon claims that current employees won't be sacked because the additional 9,000 robots. But obviously the robots are doing a lot of work that would otherwise have required additional human employees. Do you honestly believe Amazon when they say that the current staff won't be sacked when the robots spring to life? Of course they will. But it's not only Amazon that are looking to replace their workforce with robots. Chinese company moves to replace 90% of its workforce with robots. Construction work has begun at the first factory in China's manufacturing hub of Dongguan to use only robots for production, the official news agency reported. A total of 1,000 robots would be introduced at the factory initially, run by Shenzhen Precision Technology, with the aim of reducing the current workforce of 1,800 by 90% to only 200. Chen Chungtung, the chairman of the company's board, was quoted as saying in the report, "Robots are set to take over in many factories in the Pearl River Delta, the area of southern China known as the world's workshop, because of the huge export manufacturing industry there. As labour shortages bite and local authorities face the need to spur innovation to counter economic slowdown." Do you see how both those articles paint a positive picture about the future of robots? However, once companies start introducing more and more robots, there will obviously be less and less need for actual, real humans to do those jobs. Look how this plays out. Say 50% of the manufacturing force in the country is replaced with robots. That's a heck of a lot of people who are now unemployed. So what choices do they have? Because they aren't now working, they have to go on benefits. This obviously costs the government a heck of a lot more money in welfare costs. The owner of the company that's just installed robots and got rid of humans sees a massive increase in profits and efficiency shortly after the robots have been installed, and their share price rockets. The billionaire owner of the company is really pleased because he will now be able to increase his 10 billion wealth even quicker. But as more and more people are thrown out of employment onto the streets with no hope of getting a job because robots have taken all the new jobs, the government will have no choice but to cut benefits and introduce austerity because it can no longer afford the massively growing welfare bill. After a couple of years of great profits and the company share price rocketing, the profits start to drop, and so does the share price. New markets are harder to find and existing markets are receding because no one can afford the products anymore because they're all on benefits. A couple more years later, and the share price is a tenth of what it was 2 years ago, and the company is now in seriously financial trouble. That year there's civil unrest and several factories get burnt down. People are angry about the robots taking over and they want revenge. Killer robots are deployed to the streets to stop the rioting, resulting in hundreds of deaths. There are now no factories, no robots, no jobs, and hardly any benefit payments. This happens all over the country, meaning that a once vibrant country now becomes the look third world. Who knows if this scenario would play out, but I tell you this, it is a possible future scenario. If the elite of this planet think that people are just going to lie down and let them and big business and the military take this planet over with robots, they've got another thing coming. The elite on this planet are insane and they have to be stopped. We have to decide if there is a future for humanity or not. We can't allow the elite, who are as corrupt as the day is long, to send out robots to kill anyone they like anywhere in the world autonomously to save the people finding out about their corruption. This must be stopped. What happens if an autonomous killer robot gets hacked by a terror group, say ISIS for example? Imagine that the artificial intelligence in the robots decide that humans are the problem and need to be exterminated. I'm not against robots entirely. If they were regulated and not given AI, then they could enhance our lives hugely. But they have to complement humanity, help us build a better, more compassionate world, help us to get to the stars. But you know the so-called elite are going to use robots for two reasons, for killing and for making them even more billions. Do we really want to live in a dystopic future where we're literally guarded by robots as we go about our daily lives? I was always told when growing up that just because I can doesn't mean I should. We need to have a sensible debate about this, and sooner rather than later, because the robots are coming. They're just around the corner, literally. And by sensible, that probably means leaving out any government official and anyone from big business, because obviously they have a vested interest to kill and make billions. As Professor Stuart Russell says, if these robots are deployed in great numbers, humanity will be defenceless.